So I just finished shooting my video about using color in a studio apartment, and I kind of want to just go right into making my next video because I have something hot on my mind, and that is the idea of making time for self-care in our small apartments. Because I straight up tested positive for COVID. Even though I'm fully vaccinated and I live the life of a hermit who barely ever leaves her apartment, yep, still got COVID, so be careful out there. It's been kind of like a bad cold for the last few weeks, so I'm simply gonna walk you through the things that have been comforting for me, and maybe it'll inspire you and your self-care game. This is where decorating your space and making it into your own personal oasis really becomes a benefit, because when you're not feeling well, or if you're going through a rough time of any kind, having a space that feels like your own retreat, your own sanctuary, your own comfort bubble really helps. At least it helps me get through a challenging time, because I may be feeling shitty, but at least my space is pretty. That's a new rhyme. That's a new little slogan. And it's really not as trivial as that, though. It's, having a pretty space that reflects you as a person and comforts you, that carries importance. It's simply helpful. So this is my personal self-care checklist. These are the things that make me feel good in my apartment when I'm not 100%. The rest of this video is going to be voiceover because I'm not feeling good, and I don't want to be on camera anymore. So if you want some feel-good self-care ideas, watch on. So I start every morning with a simple yet righteous act of self-care, which is to make my bed. And this one is a non-negotiable for me. If I don't make my bed in the morning, it feels like I'm basically sabotaging my mindset for the whole day. And when you live in a small apartment, especially a studio apartment, making your bed has an especially profound impact on the overall vibe of your environment. It can mean the difference between feeling like you're existing among utter chaos or beautiful serenity. I know that sounds dramatic, but frankly, I stand by this drama. Making your bed is the ultimate act of self-care, and if you're not already in the habit of doing it every morning, I encourage you to embrace the positive effect it can have on your daily mindset. My next act of self-care I try to do every morning is to carve out some cozy couch time before I get to work. This involves cozying up on my couch with a soft faux fur blanket, sipping my coffee, and eating a good breakfast. Avocado toast is my go-to these days, and I like to dip it in this Chipotle aioli just because apparently I feel the need to make this perfectly healthy meal a little bit slutty. Basically, my cozy couch time is my way of creating some nice hygge vibes and having a slow morning for myself. To light a candle, cuddle up, take deep breaths, and get my brain into the creative mode it needs to be in order to do quality work for Moda Misfit. This is where creating a comfy, pretty living room space for yourself proves to be so beneficial. Cozy couch time in the morning is best in a soothing, comforting, aesthetically pleasing environment. Another self-care idea I highly recommend is to always have soothing music playing in the background when you're in your apartment, especially if you work from home. For me, music can mean the difference between slowly transforming into a robot who's become one with her laptop versus remaining a sentient human being with a functioning soul. Basically, music keeps me alive, and it makes my work from home experience so much more enjoyable. On a normal workday, some good lo-fi music does the trick. It's chill, pretty, and easy to stay focused to. I'll link to some of my favorite lo-fi YouTube videos below if you want to check them out. My next act of self-care you can easily do in your apartment is something I've recently fallen in love with, and that's drinking a matcha latte as an afternoon treat. Let me tell you, I've fallen head over heels in love with matcha. It's so yummy and gives me a nice afternoon boost. My boyfriend Kobe and I have been loving this matcha super latte by Clever. It's so delicious and easy to make. You just scoop the powder, pour a little hot water, froth it, then pour the rest of the water. And just like magic, you have a matcha latte. They also sell these pretty little flower petal sprinkles if you want to make your matcha extra attractive, which frankly adds nothing at all to the taste for me, but they're just fun and they add some whimsical romance to your matcha experience. I personally feel like a fairy princess when drinking flower sprinkles, so I'd recommend it to anyone. If you want to give Clever's Matcha Super Latte a try, I'll link to them in the description, and you can save 15% off your order if you use my code Moda Misfit. So after working for a few hours, I'll often take a video game break. There's a point where I become so creatively exhausted working on all the Moda Misfit things that it becomes imperative for me to take a Zelda break. Right now, I'm in the midst of my 5th Breath of the Wild playthrough, and it's such a therapeutic and fun self-care activity. And let me tell you, video games are such a great way to take a break, soothe your soul, and relax while also keeping your brain active with creativity, exploration, and problem solving. There are a lot of benefits to playing video games. And yeah, I know I mentioned The Legend of Zelda more than the average Decor channel, and my obsession with it might come across as a little intense. I have a Triforce on my wall, for God's sake, or should I say for Hylia's sake. Zelda reference. So I'm clearly pretty obsessive about it. Of course, there are other video games out there that are especially great for self-care. I've heard Animal Crossing is very relaxing, and this girl made a video listing out a bunch of cozy games. I'll link to that in the description if you're interested in using games as a relaxing self-care activity. My next self-care idea is to indulge in some feel-good food for dinner. And I mean indulge, shamelessly. Cook something rich and amazing, or order something greasy and slutty. Eat like a queen or a king or a troll under a bridge, whatever feels good. Of course, this shouldn't be a daily thing for the sake of your arteries, but after an especially tough day, this is the way, my friend. For me, my peak feel-good food situation means I'm going down on a big fat Chipotle burrito drenched in a psychotic amount of salsa. Those Chipotle endorphins are the height of self-care for me, personally. Find your endorphin-pumping food and indulge in it every now and again. My next self-care idea is to watch TV. This is something I honestly always make time for. To be honest with you, I am not a complete person without TV. Any of my friends will tell you that if you ask me about a TV show, chances are I've seen it and I have strong opinions about it. Sci-fi is my personal favorite genre, and I'm not above a good Bachelor night. Side note, ever since Kobe moved in with me, he watches The Bachelor with me and we both get so invested in the drama. It's so much fun. Whatever you're into, whether it's an intellectually stimulating drama or a fluffy reality show, don't have any shame about taking TV time. One of the most fundamental aspects of being human is to tell and listen to stories. Around the campfire, in a book, on a screen, stories are stories, and they're valuable in all mediums. And my final act of self-care I'm going to talk about is to end the day with a touch of brandy. Because as I've said a few times before on this channel, deep down I have the soul of a 65-year-old gentleman, and a glass of brandy is how I keep him happy. If you're not a drinker, you can obviously skip this one, but for me, brandy is the ultimate comfort beverage. It's like drinking a hug. Curling up on the couch with Kobe and cheersing to something we're proud of or grateful for is a lovely final act of self-care that ends the day on a calm, soothing, and celebratory note. I highly recommend you give this cozy amber elixir a try. So those were some of my personal favorite self-care activities, and like I said, I've been doing extra doses of them since falling ill with the COVID pestilence. Tell me in the comments below, what do you do for self-care? I'd love to hear it. Until next time, remember, your apartment is destined to be pretty, and you are pretty powerful.